Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimikung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chap. 12 one of Jane Eyre, an autobiography.
As.
Jane Eyre, an autobiography. Brontë. 12 The promise of a smooth career, which my first calm introduction to Thornfield Hall seemed to pledge, was not belied on a longer acquaintance with the place and its inmates. Mice. Fairfax turned out to be what she averred, a placid, temperate, kind-natured woman, of competent education and average intelligence. My pupil was a lively child, who had been spoiled and indulged, and therefore was sometimes wayward. But as she was committed entirely to my care, and no injudicious interference from any quarter of her thwarted my plans for her improvement, she soon forgot her little freaks, and became obedient and teachable. She had no great talents, no marked traits of character, level of childhood, but neither had she any deficiency or vice which sunk her below it. She made reasonable progress, entertained for me a vivacious, though perhaps not very profound, affection, and by her simplicity, gay prattle, and efforts to please, inspired me, in return, with a degree of attachment sufficient to make us both content in each other's society. 8. Our parents. Of children. Diversion. But I am not writing to flatter parental egotism, decolkant, or prop up humbugged. I am merely telling the truth. I felt a conscientious solicitude for others' welfare and progress, a quiet liking for her little self, just as I cherished towards Miss Fairfax a thankfulness for her kindness, a pleasure in her society proportionate to the tranquil regard she had for me, and the moderation of her mind and character. Anybody may blame me who likes, when I had further that now and then walk by myself in the grounds, look through them along the road, or when nurse and Miss Fairfax made Gillas in the storeroom. 3 staircases raised the trap-door of the attic, and having reached the leads, looked out afar over sequestered field and hill island, for a power of vision which might overpass that limit reached the busy world. Towns, but never seen that. Then I desired more of practical experience than I possessed, of intercourse with my kind, of acquaintance with variety of character here within my reach. I valued what was good in mice, Fairfax, and what was good in adult and more vivid kinds. Of goodness, behold, who blames me? Many, no doubt. Discontented, I could not help it, the restlessness was in my nature. It agitated me to pain sometimes. The corridor of the 3rd story, backwards and forwards, and solitude of the spot, bright visions rose before it, and certainly they were many and glowing. Let my heart beaved by the exultant movement which it in trouble expanded it with life, and best of all, created and narrated continuously, quickened with all of incident. Life fire, feeling that I desired and had not in my actual existence. In vain to say human beings ought to be satisfied with tranquility. Have action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. Are condemned to a stiller doom than mine against their lot. Was this of life which people earth? Women are supposed to be very calm generally, but women feel just as men feel. They need exercise for their faculties. and afield for their efforts as much as their brothers. 2. They suffer from too rigid a restraint, too absolute a stagnation. Men would suffer that they ought to confine themselves to making puddings and netting stockings on the piano and embroidering bags. It is thoughtless to condemn them, laugh at them, is pronounced necessary for their sex. And thus alone pulls laugh the same peal, the same low. So ha, which when first heard, hath told me I heard it too. Her eccentric murmurs, stranger than her laugh, was quite silent the sound she made. Sometimes I saw her room with a basin or a plate or a tray in her hand, go down to the kitchen end, shortly return, generally, oh, romantic reader, forgive me for telling the plain truth, wearing a pot of porter. Appearance always acted as a damper to the curiosity raised by her oral oddities, hard-featured and staid. She had no point to which interest could attach, made some attempts to draw her into conversation, few words, a monosyllabic reply usually cut short every effort of that sort. Other members of the household, viz. John and his wife housemaid and Sophie the French nurse, were decent people, respect remarkable. With Sophie I used to talk French. Her questions about her native country, narrative turned to check that encourage inquiry. October, November, December passed away. In January, Mice Fairfax had begged a holiday for Aloud had a cold, and reminded me how precious occasional holidays had been to me in my own childhood. I awarded it, deeming that I did well, enjoying pliability on the point. It was a fine calm day, though very cold, tired of sitting still in the library through a whole long morning. Miss Fairfax had just written a letter which was waiting to be posted, put on my bonnet and cloak, and volunteered to carry it to Hay. Distance 2 miles would be a pleasant winter afternoon walk. Ethel comfortably seated in her little chair by Miss Fairfax's pile of fireside, a drawer to play with, and a storybook for change of amusement. Having replied to her of an esbient ma bonne amie, Shumnil, Jeanette with a kiss, I set out. The ground was hard, was dull, my road was lonely, I walked fast till I got warm. For me in our own situation was 3 o'clock, bell tolled as I passed under the belfry in its approaching dimness in the low gliding and pale beaming sun, mile from Thornfield. In a lane noted for wild roses in summer, nuts and blackberries in autumn, hit and haws leafless repose. If a breath of air stirred, it made no sound here, for there was not a holly, not an evergreen to wrestle. The stripped hawthorn and hazel bushes were as still as the white which cuswayed the middle of the path. Far and wide on each side there were only fields, where no cattle now browsed, brown birds which stirred occasionally in the hedge that had forgotten to drop. This lane inclined uphill all the way to Hay, having reached the middle of field, gathering my mantle about me, muff. I did not feel the cold, though it froze keenly. It was attested by a sheet of ice covering the causeway, where a little brook out, now congealed, had overflowed after a rapid. For some distance, my seat I could look down on Thornfield, the principal object in the vale below me against the west. I lingered till the sun went down amongst the trees and sank crimson and clear behind. I then turned eastward. Above me sat the rising moon, pale yet a cloud. Momentarily she looked over Hay, which, half lost in trees, a bubble of smoke from its view. It was yet a mile distant, but in the absolute hush I could hear plainly its thin murmurs of life. My eye, too, felt the flow of currents and depths I could not tell. But there were many hills beyond Hay, and doubtless many bicks threading there. Usses of the nearest streams, the soul of the most remote. The These fine ripplings and whisperings, at once so far away and so clear. A positive tramp, metallic clatter with wanderings. As in a picture, the solid mass of a crag. Other of bold of a great oak, the foreground face. The real distance of azure hill, sunny horizon, blended clouds were tint. Melts into tint. The din was on the causeway, horse was coming. The windings of the lane yet it approached. I was just leaving the stile, yet narrow I sat still to let it go by. Was young and all sorts of fancies bright. And dark tenant my mind, the memories of nursery stories were there amongst other. Rubbish and when they recurred. Maturing youth added to them a vigour. And vividness beyond what childhood could give. As this horse approached the dusk, I remembered certain of Bessy's tales, called a trash, which, in the form of horse, mule, dog, haunted solitary ways, and sometimes came upon belated travellers. Horse was now coming upon me. It was very near sight when, in addition to the tramp, to be continued.